What's up, you guys? Charlie here from MAPerformance, or map.charlie on Instagram and TikTok. And today we're gonna be covering the cost of modifying your BRZ, FRS, or GT86 as some people call it. Now, these cars have always been highly sought after drivers' cars, and even straight out of the box, they are a ton of fun to take around some twisty back roads. Now, fun fact for you guys, a 2012 BRZ was actually the first car I got turned down for to finance. No, the first one. Turns out you need like credit or something, I don't know. Still trying to figure that one out. Anyways, major downfall of these cars is one that we all know far too well, and it's that they just don't make enough power, which is why today we're gonna be taking you along the cost to modify your GT86 from mild to wild. But before we do that, we gotta buy one of these bad boys. Let's see what they're going for in 2021, and I'm gonna ask you guys, how much do you think it's gonna take to modify your GT86? But we definitely listened to your guys' feedback, and on the last cost of modifying video of the FK8, if you haven't seen it, check it out up here. You guys commented down below saying that you really enjoyed the part where I was taking shots in the Evo video. And so today we brought them back, especially because it's my birthday today. So here we go. Oh, that's a bad idea. Holy f***. So you guys, finding the right deal is all about knowing where to look. Now, in our case, we found the best success lately on Facebook Marketplace. But it's worth noting that if you guys want the best deals, typically it's all about knowing somebody. And those off-the-market deals can be staggeringly better than what you'll find listed online. But without further ado, let's bust it open. We're gonna go ahead and find some cars on there. As we mentioned, we're doing shots for every 10 grand we spend today. Let's hope we don't get too saucy. Right off the cuff, there's a really nice one right here with 40,000 miles, this white one here. It's right local to us in Elk River, Minnesota, manual transmission. It's got the white. Obviously, I love white cars. It's the best color car there is, in my opinion. But this one does have some really interesting black wheels on it. This one, there's not a ton of information about it, but with 40,000 miles on it, it looks like it's just got some changed out wheels on it. Nothing else has really been done besides tint and maybe a little bit of wrap stuff here to accent it. 14 grand, this would be a pretty, 14.5, this wouldn't be an awful option if you're looking for something that's bone stock to start out with. There's this red one here that's also local to us right here in Maple Grove, Minnesota. This one's listed for 12 grand with 40K on it. Flex fuel with bolt-ons, NVIDIA header, overpipe, mid-pipe, stock catback, Grimspeed intake. Shout out to our friends at Grimspeed. Half cage done by Patience Metal Fab. They do great work. Car does have a salvage title, and again, that is probably why this is reflected in the price. Anyways, this car's listed at 12 grand. So if you were looking for like a track spec FRS, this would be a good option for you, especially if you don't necessarily care that it's got a salvage title. That's me. I'll buy any salvage title car if I'm getting a deal. So looks like whoever built it right now went to the right places to get work done. So I would trust that for 12 grand. And this one looks like it's stupid clean. The guy has some really nice photos on it. It's got some Kansai wheels, slammed. I mean, it's definitely part of that Gamer gang. This one's shot by Chur. Chur took photos of this car. Listed for 16.5. Super clean white car. Again, got really nice carbon stuff on there. Carbon lip, side skirt mirrors, carbon fender canards, custom exhaust, engine cold air intake. Yeah, so it's on bags. Airlift Performance 3P dual compressors. So like, I think it'd be safe to assume like a clean, good example of this car is gonna go for somewhere between 12 and 16 grand, give or take. 4,500 bucks, 89,000 miles. The guy spelled Sail, S-A-I-L. So that's how you know you're getting a really good deal. No engine, no trans, but he does have them outside of the car. Car comes with salvage title. You're gonna need to do quite a bit of work to get this thing back together, buy a bunch of parts. You're pretty crafty, you're good at this, or you've got time for like a winter build project. Maybe spending 4,500 bucks on this would be worth it for you, but maybe not. Again, it could lead to tons and tons of headaches down the road. Enter at your own risk, if you will. But with that being said, we've definitely spent already over the $10,000 limit, so we're gonna have to get out the new bottle. I'm not even gonna think about it, down the hatch. Oh. Okay, on to the parts. All right, you guys, so the first thing that we're gonna do is go through the mild build, and this is gonna be the one that's the most budget friendly. Now, I've gone ahead, done the pre-work to figure out exactly what parts are gonna go in here, exactly what parts we're using. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is get an intake for our BRZ, FRS, GT86, whatever you wanna call it. We're gonna go ahead and put our friend from Grim Speed on there, the cold air intake with heat shield, or if you wanted to, if you're looking for more of like an OEM plus look, the InGen option is also great. But I think the next thing that any of these cars need, obviously there's tons of mid-range power gains when you do this, but there's also a really nice rumble tone that you get out of your engine when you put these on there. That's right, we're gonna go ahead and get some headers. We're gonna go with the Tomei FA20 unequal length headers. Those cost $700, so we're already up to another $1,000 we're putting on the car. And then lastly, just so we can hear this thing a little bit better, I'm gonna go with the catback. Those things are gonna obviously make a big difference when you're driving your car from like a sound and a feel perspective. So that's what we would start with, at least when it comes to some of these more basic bolt-ons. But since these are a driver's oriented car, you're gonna wanna go ahead and get some braking modifications in there. So for this, we put our MAPerformance basic brake upgrade package. That comes with rotors, pads, stainless steel lines, and fluid. Costs you only $400. So at this point, you may want a tune, anywhere from $500 to $1,000. You're gonna definitely need to get some sort of like lowering springs or something along those lines. We'll save coilovers for the next steps. But lowering springs, we'd recommend going with Swift. They make an amazing spring option. Eibach also makes great springs. And then also a set of sway bars. Again, Eibach is a great option. And that's gonna get you a pretty decent package. Again, if you're just looking to take your car from bone stock to something that's a little bit more fun to drive, you can hear it better, get a little bit more power, change some of that mid-range power band. This is gonna do a lot of that stuff. Obviously with the brake pad upgrade and the Swift springs is gonna handle a lot better. The sway bars, it's gonna make a huge difference. You haven't really spent a ton of money and you've already transformed the look and feel of this car quite a bit. I know in the last video we didn't really touch on it. I did in the Evo video, but we're also assuming that you guys are doing a lot of this work yourself. Now, a lot of shops, they're gonna charge you up to anywhere from around $100 to $150 an hour for labor. We're just not factoring that into it because we're gonna assume that a lot of you guys can do this work yourself. You'd expect to be making anywhere from about 200 to 225 horsepower with these products put on the car, these performance upgrades done. And on a scale of 1 to 10, this thing's still like an 8 or 9 for reliability. Not a whole lot that could really mess with this, especially if you go and get a decent tune. It should be running just fine. And you'd have a great driving car for this power level. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what we call the medium build. Now, before we get any further into the video, I want to go ahead and let you know that MAPerformance has all the products that you're going to need come Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Again, if you are looking for a deal, look no further because you're going to be able to go ahead and buy the parts you're looking for at a discount now, even if they're not listed at a discount, because come Black Friday, Cyber Monday, if they go on sale, we'll give you a discount. We'll give you your money back that you would have spent if the product gets discounted on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so you can shop with confidence at MAPerformance.com. All right, now for the medium build, there's gonna be a few major components that come into play here that are gonna be throttled by some other things that we leave out of this step. So first thing, and that may not make literally any sense to you right now, but for power mods, the first thing we're gonna do on the medium build is we're gonna throw a big old snail on this thing. And by big old, I mean probably a pretty small snail. But with a turbo kit, you're gonna be looking at adding quite a bit of power, probably right around 90 to 100 horsepower added. For this, we spec'd out the Works Stage 2 kit, costs about $5 grand. Turbo kit comes with the intercooler, the turbo, a bunch of other stuff included in that. Again, it's a really comprehensive kit that's built specifically for these cars. So it does provide a lot of those additional parts that you'd be getting separately in most cases. The turbo kit only really obviously works well with some fueling upgrades done to it. For that, we're gonna go with some injectors. We went with some like 1100 cc injectors at minimum, but you're also gonna need an upgraded fuel pump. Probably go to something like, I don't know, 350, 450. So once you start adding some of that more power, you're getting above that 300 horsepower range, you do want to start looking at some additional cooling modifications. For that, we're going to get an aluminum radiator for $300, some silicone hoses, that's going to be $175, an oil cooler kit, obviously $500 to $700. The biggest thing with a turbo kit and an oil cooler kit is that you want to ensure that these two things are compatible with each other. Now that's super tough sometimes to find that information. So make sure you do your homework before you buy something, or give our sales guys a call at 1-888-MAPerformance. you can talk to any of those guys and they'll be able to do that homework for you to help make sure that you buy parts that'll actually fit with the other parts that you're putting on your car. You're gonna wanna look at some more braking packages, probably like a 2-piece drill slotted rotor. We do have the performance brake upgrade package for these cars that does come with a 2-piece rotor set, pads, stainless lines, fluid. If you upgraded to some of these parts in the last step, you may not need to buy all of it. Again, one of those situations where you'd want to call our sales guys. They're there to help make sure that you don't buy anything extra or spend any additional money. Again, with the turbo kit, you're going to want to go ahead and get a tune. Again, you could save some of this money if you were to all just put all the parts on and go get it tuned once. You wouldn't have this problem. But again, we're just factoring things in given an assumption that you're doing this in these stages. Now, additionally, at this point, you're gonna probably wanna upgrade those Swift springs to a set of coilovers. Now, the reason that you're gonna wanna do that is because the handling will be that much more increased, as well as obviously you'll have that adjustability for the ride height as well, which should help you lower your center of gravity of your car and make it a little bit more fun to drive. Especially if you're looking for some good brands like Fortunato, Stance, HKS Hypermax, there's Öhlins, there's tons of other brands that make really great coilover setups. The next thing you're gonna need for your car is some sort of clutch kit to help put that power from the engine back down to the ground. It's kind of like a stage 2, stage 4 to 5, 6 puck clutch that you'd be looking at that point. But you're gonna have somewhat of an Achilles tendon when it comes to this build at this point because the engine isn't well built at this point, and with the turbo kit and everything that you've otherwise put on the car, it's gonna be dicey that you're running it at this power level without any built internals. You're gonna be making anywhere from 300 to 350 horsepower. On a scale of 1 to 10 for reliability, this is gonna rank a 6 or a 7 for us, depending on how you get it tuned. I would even more conservatively just advise you to not put a turbo kit on your car without building the engine. I would rate this one personally like a 5, but again, that's just me. And like that, we're already over another 10 G's. We've spent now like 25 grand on this car, so we got to take another shot, I think. Shout out to St. Cloud State. Ooh. It's scary that they get easier as you go. All right, guys, so now it's time to get into the hot build shit, okay? This is some big boy numbers here. First thing, built short block is going into this thing because again, that is the ticking time bomb. First thing you need to address if you wanna really crank up the numbers. If you can supply your own core, then we can build it off of that. Otherwise, we gotta buy a new one and that's why it's gonna cost you more money. So don't blow up your engine and don't make it Next thing you're gonna need is, you're gonna need a big turbo kit. 5850 and up, homie. Fueling, same as above. 1100cc injectors, flex fuel kit, made by Delicious Tuning. That one's gonna cost you 600 bucks. You're gonna be looking at 1300 to 1600cc injectors at this point. Next, with all that power, you're gonna need a big brake kit, the BBK. Willwood 2-piece rotor, big brake kit. So you're gonna be making a ton more power, especially if you're like hitting the drag strip or anything like that. Making some good numbers. That's a lot of power in this lightweight of a car. So again, you're gonna need some brakes because it's getting a little nutty at this point. Next, you're gonna need some additional things. Again, if you haven't upgraded to like a good quality being the key word here, set of coilovers, the Racelands you may have put on, they're not cutting it at this point. You need to upgrade them to some nice coilovers, Öhlins, KW. You're gonna want something that can support what it is that you're trying to do with the car. And honestly, like a cheap set of coilovers probably just isn't gonna do it. It's gonna feel a little dicey. From there, you're gonna need to upgrade that clutch kit. Again, depending on what you went to in that first step and how much power you're making now with the hot build, you may need to upgrade that clutch again. From there, you're gonna be looking at like a wave track, limited slip diff. That's gonna be something that's obviously possibly necessary depending on how that power is being put down. Maybe even some axles or something along those lines could be coming into consideration at this point. Again, obviously, you're also not going to be running on just like the stock wheel and tire setup. So putting that power to the ground, you're going to need some wider wheels. You're going to need some wider tires, some good sticky boys. And from there, you may just want some aero just to help keep you a little bit planted, help put that power down to the ground. Big Wayne gang at this point, put it on there, f around and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, from there, it's gonna cost you quite a bit more money. The total, we haven't even actually totaled up yet. We're gonna put that right here. From there, again, assuming that you did the work yourself, it's gonna cost you what we put there. Otherwise, add in quite a bit more for the labor because the rest of this stuff that you're getting done is not gonna be cheap. Again, you're gonna probably need to consider another tune if you're getting a second or third tune at this point. Again, you could save money by just doing it all right the first time and building it to your goals right away. But oftentimes people get impatient and they want to drive their car and they just build it in stages, and so you spend an extra $3 grand. From there, you're gonna be making anywhere from 400 to 600 wheel horsepower. Again, and on a scale of 1 to 10 for reliability, at this point, it's probably gonna be closer to like a 7 or an 8. Again, you did it right at this point, assumably. However, it's a car that's making quite a bit more power and things just break. That's kind of the nature of the beast. If you're not willing to sign up for that, then don't build your car to this extent. Just stay at the basic build and lose to everybody on the street because you're not gonna win. This one is an extra one just because we didn't take any shots in the last video and it's my birthday. So follow me on Instagram and TikTok. For 5 stacks, you could find yourself in the hot seat of a hot build FRS BRZ GT86. What do you guys think? Is this pretty accurate? Is this representative of what you may be having to your build? I'd love to get input from the guy we did the video on and see if this is similar to what he spent to get his car where he is, because that'd give us a real world example. However, we think that our calculations are relatively accurate, and again, assuming that there weren't any other major problems that came up along the car, maybe upgrading the seats or some other things like that went into it that could have added some money on top, you'd maybe venture towards that 60K range, but nonetheless, the key components gonna cost you 50 grand. Otherwise, guys, if you have any other questions or you think that we should do a video on a different car to help you figure out how much it costs to modify it, let us know down in the comments below. If you think that we severely messed this up or like we maybe should have taken shots for every 5 grand we spent, go ahead and let us know. I'm just gonna need a ride home after that. But with that being said, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go ahead and cuddle up on the cot over here and spend the night. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. We'll see you later.